Welcome to our next lesson. How do you build the emotional intelligence of groups, and why do we actually care about that? It's really important to build the emotional intelligence of groups because you're going to have more productivity, earn more money, and groups are going to be more creative and enjoy working with each other more. So let's take a look at exactly what is emotional intelligence, how do we build it, and how do we cultivate it. We're going to start with a Harvard Business Review on work and studies by Vanessa Ertz-Juscott and Stephen Wolf. For the beginning, what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is also called EI, emotional leadership, or EL, emotional quotient, EQ, and emotional intelligence quotient, EIQ. It all means the same thing. Emotional intelligence is comprised of two things. The first is personal competence, which is the ability to recognize and manage your own emotions, which means I can recognize that I'm happy and I can manage that happiness. Social competence is the ability to recognize emotions in others and manage their emotions. So that would be, for example, being able to tell if someone is sad and maybe being able to help them not be so sad. Now, what can EI do for us in an organization? Simple. On an overall basis, emotional intelligence can help us be more effective in work as well as in our emotional life and our personal life. Now, here's the interesting thing that researchers found. Teams are just like people. They have their own personality. So you can apply emotional intelligence techniques to teams, and that's going to boost overall performance. You cannot imitate another team. So if you find that another team in your organization has certain techniques or strategies that they use, like maybe they have a volleyball team that meets on Saturdays, you can't just start a Saturday volleyball team and expect everything to go the same. You need to create your own team's personality. There are three conditions that are going to make an effective team. The team members have to trust each other. They have to have a sense of group identity. So the team leader needs to give them some sort of identity that they're special or they know what they are. They have to give themselves a task. Why are we together? What's our point? What's our mission? There also has to be a sense of group efficacy, meaning everyone in the group believes the team can succeed. If you don't have all three of these, someone in the team is going to hold you back. So everyone needs to be on board with this. Now, here is a quick snapshot of how emotional intelligence is used for individual team members. One is for awareness and the other is for regulation. So let's take a look at the chart. For the emotions of individual team members, to create awareness, to help increase that or hone the awareness, you have to understand the sources of an individual's behavior and take steps to address problematic behavior. So let's say that someone comes into a team meeting and they're always in a bad mood, they're always late, they're always rushed. Instead of yelling at them, find out, why are you in a bad mood and why are you showing up late? It might be because their child is sick and they have to wait for the babysitter to come. They can't go to school today. That's stressful to them. They already feel bad about showing up late and they're bringing it into the office. So being able to ask why something is happening can be really helpful. Next is to encourage all the group members to share their perspectives before making key decisions. So if there's 5 people in a group and 3 people say, yeah, let's make the carpet purple, and 2 people haven't spoken yet, it's really important to say to those 2 people, what do you think? 3 of us want purple, but we want to know, what do you want? If we weren't saying purple, what color would you want? We want everyone to feel like their voice has been heard. Now, to regulate individual team member behavior, now this is regulation, this is changing a behavior, we do have to handle confrontation constructively. If a team member is falling short, we have to call them out on that. We have to make a point of saying, hey, you're not meeting your deadline, as opposed to supposing that we would wait and just hope that they change. No, the minute someone goes offline, call them on it and let them know what the group needs. We were depending on you to meet a deadline. You didn't meet that deadline. Stop what's happening. As opposed to, well, maybe they're having a bad day. No, call it out right away. We also need to treat each other in a caring way. So acknowledge when someone is upset and show appreciation and respect. So if someone is late on a deadline or they seem depressed, instead of yelling at them, say, "Are you okay? This isn't like you. You haven't met a deadline. You haven't missed a deadline before. Now you have. You don't seem to be the same person. What's going on at home?" So it's really important to treat them really like a family member. Now, here's how we do emotional intelligence for the whole group. Again, we're going to start with the awareness column. So for the whole group, we want to regularly assess the group's strengths, weaknesses, and modes of interaction. So what's the group really good at? Maybe it's brainstorming. What are some of its weaknesses? They take too long to make a decision. And what modes do they like to interact? Do you like to be in person at the office? Do you like to only do it by Zoom? Do you want to do it through text? So we want to be aware of the best way that we get together. And also invite your customers to give you reality checks. Say, hey, do you like how this team operates? Do you like the ideas that they give you? Also talk to colleagues and suppliers, other people outside the group that see your group and could let you know what they think of your group. To regulate group behavior, we also need to create structures that lets the group express its emotions. So we might want to have once a week, hey, imagine that the group was a person. What was the group like today? Oh, the group was exciting this week. The group was really productive this week. Oh, the group fought this week. The group didn't get anything done this week. So it's important to view the group like it's a person and ask, how was it? We also want to cultivate an affirmative environment, meaning we want it to be a positive environment. The more positive it is, the more people are going to broaden their vision and broaden their creativity. So we need to have an affirmative environment as opposed to pointing a finger and yelling at people saying you're not doing good enough. That does not help with productivity. We can also encourage proactive problem solving and say, listen, there's always going to be problems. We're always going to get problems. Let's just handle them efficiently, pleasantly, and quickly. Now, there's also emotional intelligence for other key groups. Now, that means that we actually interact with other groups besides our own. So to hone the awareness of other key groups, we want to designate someone in our team to be a liaison to outside groups that are within our organization. So let's say our marketing team actually has to talk to the design team. We want to designate one member from our team to go out and connect with them and say, hi, we're from the marketing team. We know that you're the creativity team. We would like to develop a rapport and see if we could work better together. We also want to identify and support other groups' expectations and needs. So we want to go to that other group that we may be interacting with and saying, hey, what's it like to work with us? Do you like working with us? Do you like how we talk to you? Do you like the emails, or would you rather we sit down and have weekly meetings? Do you feel that we consider what you want, or do you feel like we just kind of make decisions and make you change how you behave? So what do you think of us? We want to make sure that they know that we are aware of them and that we want to get along with them. Now, to regulate behavior with these other key groups is we are going to have to create these cross-boundary relationships to gain their confidence, which means we may want to say, hey, we're the marketing team. We want to get together and have dinner with the finance team or the ops team, and we want to know, would you like to meet for dinner afterwards, maybe on a Friday, so that we can understand who you are, get to know you as a person. And when people know you and like you, they're going to get along better with you. It's also important to get together with these other teams so that you know the broader social and political context in which your group must succeed. We don't want to just operate as a group on our own. We want to know, where do we fit in the entire organization? Who likes us? Who do we need to get to like us better? Are we important? Is someone looking at us? So it's really important that people know where you fit in the organization. And really important, appreciate the other groups. Say, listen, we work at the same company. We work with you. We depend on you. We appreciate you. You're in a different department, but we love you. It's important to give people appreciation so that they help you when you need that help. Now, study after study shows that teams are more creative and productive when they have high levels of team participation, high levels of team cooperation, and high levels of team collaboration. So the leader of the team has to always be making sure that every single person on the team is participating. If you have some people who are very quiet, call on them. Hey, why are you quiet? We would love to hear your ideas. Typically, the quiet people are the best listeners. They have the best ideas because they're the best observers. We want to know what they're thinking. We also want to make sure that everyone on the team is cooperating. If there isn't some cooperation, call them out on it. Say, hey, I noticed that you're not looking someone in the eye, or you tend not to compliment another person, or when we have smaller breakouts, you always go with the same 3 people. We'd like you to switch it up and work with other people. So cooperation is important. And there's also the collaboration, working with other people and getting along with them. So make sure that all 3 of those are going well. If they're not, and people are starting to just hang out with individuals within a group, it's your job as a leader to make sure that people mix. Now, 3 conditions must exist first for all of this wonderful things to happen. There has to be mutual trust amongst the members. And as a leader, it's your job to make sure that people trust each other. There does have to be that sense of group identity, that the group knows why they're there, why they were formed, and what the goal is. And then again, that sense of group efficacy, which is a belief that they can perform well. So there's a lot that needs to happen for groups to be amazing groups. But that's the point of this class, to teach you all those components. And as you can see, none of these things individually are hard to do, but they're all things that you must do. We don't just assume that we hope we get a bunch of people that we like to work with and it's a great team. It requires effort and skill, and you as a leader have to build that. All great teams have all 4 of these boxes. They have group emotional intelligence, which we're just looking at what is group emotional intelligence. It's the same thing as individual intelligence. We just bring it to a group. We all have to have trust, identity, and efficacy within the group. We all have to have participation, cooperation, and collaboration. And if you have that, you make better decisions, more creative solutions, and higher productivity. Be mindful, one person that does not have all of these can be contagious like a cold. So if you have one person on the team that does not have all of this, they can infect the other members on the team. So it's really important that everybody on the team has this. Now, again, this is going to be a quick review, and these slides were made so that you can refer to them later as your toolkit, so that when you're managing in a team and something's not going right, you can just look to the slide. Here's how we work with individuals' emotions. If something looks strange, someone's acting a little different, call it out. You don't wait and hope that they get better. You say, hey, Joe, Mary, you're different today. What's going on? And simply ask if they're okay. I guarantee you most of what's wrong with them probably has nothing to do with the office or the team. It's probably something that happened at home. If you ask what that is and they're willing to share that with you, it shows that you care. It also brings some trust and understanding that you don't need them to work harder. You just need to know that maybe if they understand that you understand, things will be better. A lot of people feel better when things haven't been fixed, but they've just been heard. So just listening to what's going on with someone is very important. Get them to share about what's going on so that they can get into a better headspace, a better mood before you move on. Don't let anyone be a part of the team if they're not in a good mood. It's important to really make sure everyone's on the same page right away. Don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. If someone's not doing well, we need to talk about it. Again, it's like a family. We don't want to sweep everything under the rug. And as we've said before, bad attitudes are contagious. We just cannot have them in an effective team. Now, to regulate an individual's emotions, so this would be on an individual basis, so you as a team member, how do you do it? We need to establish norms for confrontation and caring. So we're going to have rules in each of our group, and you can make them as a group that, okay, what do we want to do as a rule when we know that someone's coming in and they're angry, or they're not talking, or they're in a bad mood, and you say, are you okay? And they go, yeah, I'm fine. That's not okay. We need to have rules that say, okay, we're all going to stop the meeting until Joe or Mary says what's wrong, and have them talk about it if that is the norm that you want to establish. But you need to have rules so that the workers know what to expect. That, oh, I can't just come into this meeting and just be quiet all day because people are going to pull out the rule book and say, we're all going to stop the meeting and find out what's wrong. It's really important to first take the protocol of we care about you and is everything okay? So instead of saying you're misbehaving or you're not performing, make sure that you ask if people are okay first. If people do have bad behavior, maybe they're talking on the phone and one of the rules is that you can't bring a phone into a meeting, call that out right away. We don't let things go. Now you can call out people with humor. So let's say someone's always on the phone and we made a rule we can't have phones in a meeting and someone's on the phone or they're texting, we could all stop and do this. And so the person realizes, oh, everyone's looking at me. Everyone knows what I'm doing. So it's okay to use humor. That's actually a great way to get people to follow rules. For norm creation, again, how do we handle sulking? When someone's sulking, what do we do? Imitate them? You could do that. So it's okay, again, to make a rule, and I encourage you to use humor. But make that rule so that everyone expects that the rule is going to apply when it's their turn. And here's how we work with group emotions. Remember, groups have emotions too. We want to encourage members to speak up when the group goes off task. So maybe someone's talking too much or the group's not really meeting a deadline that's going to happen in a half an hour. We need everyone to have permission in the group, whether they're the leader or not, to say, wait a minute, we're not on task now. We have gone off. We need to stop and bring us back. It's everyone's responsibility to say that the group has actually gone off track. So everyone has permission to do that. You can also ask other people outside your group what it's like to work with your group. It's just like a person. You may know how you think you appear to people, but you don't really know until you ask them. So you could say, what does the company think of our group? Do people like us? Could we do something to be better? And another thing that people do that groups don't do is they ignore their successes. It's really important that you recognize that when you have succeeded, go out and celebrate. And it could even just be a coffee break or singing a song or a high five to each other. But it's really important to celebrate successes because that just encourages us to make another success. So it's really worth your while to take everyone out to dinner if you did something good. For regulating group emotions, very important to build team spirit with social outings. Some people see this as a waste of money. Not at all. Because what happens is that you build trust when you're out at these social outings. So it is important that we see people that we work with as human beings. Bring family members with them. You want to meet everyone else's kid or their husband or wife. It's really important to say, Joe isn't just the production manager, he's a dad, and he's got a wife, and he has a cute little daughter or a cute little son. And when you start to see Joe as more of a person, you will work with them more, work with them better. So it's really important that perhaps you have company reunions where everyone comes and we all get to meet each other. Remember, think like a family. It's okay to raise the group emotion. That's really what we're trying to do with the social outings. So just going out for fun is fine. 3 benefits of the group outings are it creates resources for working with emotions, it's going to create that affirmative environment, and it's going to encourage that proactive problem solving. So when a problem comes to your group, people don't say, oh my God, we have a problem. Instead they say, oh, challenge, puzzle, let's figure this out. You can also create a vocabulary for the team, meaning your own unique words. So let's say that people are in a bad mood, instead of saying they're in a bad mood or they're sad or they're angry or what have you, we would say, oh, they're cranky today. One word that I like is mixing the word hungry and angry. So some people, when they haven't had food, they've missed lunch, they get angry, and we call it hangry, the mixture of hungry and angry. So maybe if someone at 11 o'clock in the morning is behaving a little cranky, we say, are you hangry? And maybe it's time to have a snack. By the way, having snacks in meetings is good to keep people's blood sugars up. Please don't gossip or add to complaining. It really detracts from a group. what we're trying to do is have a healthy group, not an unhealthy group. So do encourage the group not to jump on the bandwagon with complaining or gossiping about other people. And also be proactive problem solvers. Problems are part of our life. Let's have fun with them and treat them as puzzles. Now, there are 5 sources of great group norms, meaning the way that the group creates its own identity. It comes from 5 different sources. One is the formal team leader, which is what we expect. But then there's the informal team leader, the person that really is an influencer in the team, but they're not really the manager. Allow them to create norms. Courageous followers, these are people that do not have a leadership role in the team, but they have an impact. So listen to them. Maybe they have some really cool ideas. And then trainings. You're in a training right now, so this can help you, but your team itself is probably going to come up with better ideas. And then the larger organizational culture itself. Ask them what works well and what should we be adopting. The frequent check-in. We need to do this. This is just like going to the doctor for a checkup. Once a week, ask your team, what is going well with the team and what can we do better? Those are the 2 simplest questions. I love them. Another is a game that's called Rosebud Thorn. So you see on the screen the rose. Well, when the rose is blooming, that's the rose itself. A bud is the small start of the rose before it is bloomed, meaning it's about to become bigger and better. And then thorn is the little thing that cuts you on the stem. Now, what we want to ask is, with Rosebud Thorn, is let's do Rosebud Thorn for the week. What is a rose of the week? Which is something that was great and we want to keep doing. What is a bud? Something that might be a good thing, something that we started that went pretty well, and we want to have more of it. And what's a thorn? Something we tried and it's not really working. We need to get rid of it. So Rosebud Thorn is a really great way to improve the team in a fun way. So you just go around the room and say, what's your Rosebud Thorn? And people just say, my rose for the week was we have free coffee. My bud was they gave us free pizza after 5. I'd like to have more of that. And the thorn was the sodas that they give us at lunch aren't very good. I'd rather drink something else. That's Rosebud Thorn. Here's your 20-minute homework. It's going to be pretty easy. Make 3 suggestions, rules, or norms to make a higher team emotional intelligence in your team. Please be creative. Just go out of the box and think of something fun. You could do things like remove the table in the conference room so everyone's standing around, like a cocktail party. That's different. You could make the table a circle so that now everyone appears to be equal. You could also make everyone write up their ideas before the meeting starts, and different people read those ideas anonymously. So you could say, we have 10 people in our group. You have to write down 3 ideas that you want to bring to the group. Don't put your name on it. Just type it up so no one knows it was you. Switch the papers around, and we're all going to read everyone else's idea. And anonymously, we don't know whose idea it is. Now, that could be a cool way that people can bring in a suggestion that they're not sure is a really good idea, but it gets out there. And what if the manager read your idea? Everyone might say, that's a great idea because the manager said it. So that's your 20-minute homework. Thanks for listening today, and I will see you at the next lesson.